Hi guys, so this is a 30-minute mellow flow. It's called Happy Hips because we're really gonna open up all the muscle fascia in your hips. So we store a lot of tension and anxiety and old bad emotions in our hips. So this practice just kind of helps to open that stuff up so that we're better able to let go. So anyway, it's a really relaxing, beautiful practice, and I hope you enjoy. See you soon. Okay guys, so we're going to start in child's pose for our happy hips flow. So you're going to take your big toes to touch behind you. And then let's have your knees out wide so we can start to warm up into our hips a little bit. And then take your arms out in front of you, your palms face down onto the mat. And then just take your forehead to the mat. And let's just start to take some deep breaths just to settle in. Starting to let go of, whatever stress or anxiety going on in your life in this moment. And just let that go all out of your third eye and your forehead into your mat. Taking some nice cleansing exhales, full deep inhales. Trying to cultivate your Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath is just like you're fogging up a mirror, but with your mouth closed. So you just restrict the back of your throat. It just makes this little hissing sound that is audible for you to kind of get in rhythm with your practice. So it acts as the metronome. So we just want to move with our breath here. If you'd like to set an intention for your work in this mellow flow, you're welcome to now. So just make it personal to you. So maybe just thinking of a few things you're trying to let go of. So we store a lot of old bad emotions and stress in our hips. So with this flow, we're going to do a lot of hip opening and try to release that buildup of stress and anxiety that lives in our hips. So, maybe thinking of just a few things that you're trying to let go of. Bad emotions, or help with maybe getting rid of toxic people in your life. So just maybe even narrowing it down to a word that you can come back to let go of. Good, and with that word or intention in mind, let's just take a few deep breaths to seal it in. So empty out all of your breath here, and then start to inhale through your nose. So filling all the way to the very top of your lungs. And when you get to the top, hold your breath for 3, for 2, for 1. And big exhale, let it all go out. Very nice. And then slow and controlled, start to put weight into your hands, coming up into a tabletop position. So your wrists are going to be right under your shoulders, knees right under your hips. I'm going to start with a couple cat-cows just to warm up a little bit. So on an inhale, drop your belly down, lift your chest, lift your gaze for cow pose. And then on your exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin into your chest, push the ground away like an angry cat for cat pose. Inhale, drop your belly, open up your heart, lift your tailbone up high. And then exhale to round everything in, feeling all of your vertebrae stretch. Good, and do this one more time on your own breath cycle. If you want to take some organic movements here, you can. Stretching out your side body. Let's do one more breath. Still having Ujjayi breath, if possible. Good, and then just slowly come into a neutral spine. Take your pinky fingers to touch the edges of your mat. Spread your fingers out really wide. And then take your knees back just an inch. Tuck your toes, send your hips up high, downward facing dog pose. So we're just starting to warm up a little bit before we're able to get into our hips. So if you want to bend one knee and then the other, maybe taking your right foot right behind your left heel just for some extra weight on each side. Just start to warm up into your hamstrings, into the backs of your legs. So make sure you're keeping integrity in your spine. So bending your knees a little bit kind of helps to keep your spine straight. So keep sending your heart toward your thighs. If you need a little bend in your knees in your down dog, just to keep that tractioning throughout your spine, please keep a little bend, okay? And start to inhale through your fingertips up to your tailbone, and then exhale down the backs of your legs. Very nice. One more deep breath here. Shaking your head a little, yes. Shake your head a little, no. Very good. And then on an inhale, lift your heels, come up to the balls of your feet. Exhale to bend your knees. Look between your thumbs and step to the front of your yoga mat. On an inhale, lengthen out your spine. Come up halfway, flat back. Exhale to fold. And just grab opposite elbows here. Maybe bending one knee and then the other. Swaying from side to side, keeping your jaw relaxed, your breath deep and free here. So again, just warming up into the backs of our legs. And then slowly just release your hands to your yoga mat. On an inhale, come up to your flat back, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale to fold. 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen your spine, halfway, flat back, shoulder blades together on your back. Exhale, fold. 1 more time. Inhale to lift. More weight into the balls of your feet. Exhale to fold. And then have a nice, generous bend into your knees and slowly roll up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Your head is going to be the last piece of the puzzle. So just getting a nice, deep spine stretch here. Very nice. And when you come all the way to the very top, just take your hands to your heart. Come back to your intention for a moment. Remember what you're trying to let go of. On an inhale, reach both arms up, big and tall, big wingspan all the way up. Palms touch, gaze goes up. And then exhale to swan dive. Bring it all the way down to your yoga mat. Beautiful. Inhale to lengthen your spine, halfway lift, extend your spine out long. Good. And then exhale, fold. Now take your right foot back all the way to the back of your yoga mat. So all the way back. Now take it back even farther. Beautiful. Now take your right knee down, untuck your right toes, and inhale your arms, reach up to the sky, coming into a low lunge, okay? So sinking into your hips. We're already starting to get into our hips a little bit. So send your hips down and forward, so down and towards the front of the room, coming onto the top of your right kneecap. So send your right knee as far back behind you as you can, shoulders away from your ears. 1 more deep breath here. On your exhale, take your hands to frame your left foot, and then just shift your hips back, straighten out your left leg, coming into half splits. Okay, so on an inhale, lengthen your spine out long, and then exhale, fold, just hinging from your hips. Think nose towards your toes, so keep extending through your spine in your half splits. Okay, deep breaths here, relaxing your face, relaxing your jaw. Beautiful. Let's take 1 more deep breath here. Good. Slowly start to re-bend into your left knee. Take your hands to frame your left foot. And then just take your left foot to meet your right foot and take your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. Again, shake your head a little, yes. Shake your head a little, no. Take some nice deep breaths, spreading your fingers out wide. Very nice. On an inhale, lift your heels away from the earth. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and step to the front of your mat. Very nice. On an inhale, come up to your flat back. Exhale to fold. Now make little peace fingers with your fingers. Take your feet hip-width distance apart, and then just take your little peace fingers right inside of your big toe. Okay. On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long. And then exhale to fold. So relax your head and neck down. Take your shoulders away from your ears. Just take some nice, deep, long breaths here. Keeping your Ujjayi breath, warming up from the inside out. Okay, 1 more breath here. Good, and slowly release your grip. On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long. Come up to your flat back, shoulders away from your ears. Exhale to fold. And now take your left foot back to the back of your yoga mat. See if you can sneak it back even farther, okay? Now take your left knee down, untuck your left toes, and inhale, your arms reach up to the sky. So again, try to keep your left knee as far back behind you as you can, coming onto the top of your left kneecap, okay? So really squeezing it back all the way to the back of your mat, and then send your hips down and forward. So feel this little stretch in your psoas, okay, which is right in the front of your left hip. And reach up through your fingertips. So from your belly button up through your fingertips, feel the energy reaching for the sky. For one more deep breath. Very nice. And then take your hands to frame your right foot. Just shift your hips back, straighten out your right leg, coming into half splits on the right side, okay? So, if you don't have blocks, it's no big deal. You don't necessarily have to have your fingers on the ground, but preferably so. So wherever your fingers are, just try to lengthen out your spine as much as you can, just hinging from your hips, sending your nose towards your toes. So keep lengthening out. Okay, take your right hip crease back. If you're not feeling a stretch, walk your right heel even more towards the front of your yoga mat, okay? Make sure that your left hip is right over your left knee. So your hips are over your left knee. Okay, one more deep breath here. See if you can fold a little bit deeper. Good. Slowly start to rebend into your right knee. Take your hands to frame your right foot. And then take your right foot back, meeting in downward facing dog pose, hiking your hips up to the sky. Just a couple deep breaths here. Relaxing your face, relax your forehead, relax your head down low. Okay, on an inhale, lift your heels away from the earth. Exhale to bend your knees, look forward, and step to the front of your yoga mat, all the way to the front. On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come all the way up to standing. Your palms are going to touch above your head. And then exhale your hands straight to your heart. Beautiful. We're going to come into Malasana, yogi squat. So take your feet out slightly wider than hip width distance. Turn your toes out 45 degrees and then sit your hips down low right in between your heels. Okay, take your hands should be at your heart, shoulders away from your ears, and start lifting through your chest. Okay, keep pressing your knees out. Very good. Okay, and then if this is too easy, you can come up just a little bit to engage your muscles in your legs. Just one more deep breath here. Big exhale. Good. Take your hands to your mat. Slowly straighten out your legs and take your feet together to touch. So coming just into a forward fold. Okay. On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long, flat back. Exhale to plant your hands and step back to a downward facing dog. So just hiking your hips up to the sky. Deep breaths here. On an inhale, reach your right leg up and back behind you, coming into a tripod down dog. Very nice. And then on an exhale, plant your right foot right outside of your right hand. We're coming into lizard pose. So since we're kind of just taking it easy, let's take our left knee down to your mat. Okay, and then you can either stay onto your hands or you can come onto your forearms. I just really want you to keep your spine as straight as possible. So keeping that same idea that we had in half splits, with our nose towards our toes, even though you're not going to take your nose towards your toes in this pose, but I want you to still keep that length in your spine. So shoulders, keep pulling away from your ears, shoulder blades down your back, and then sink low into your hips. Beautiful. Just a couple more deep breaths here. See if you can sink a little bit lower. Beautiful. And if you're on your forearms, start to come back up to your hands. If you're on your hands, just stay the way you are. Take your hands to frame your right foot, okay? And then coming back into half splits, just shift your hips back, straightening out your right leg, half splits. Inhale to lengthen your spine out long. And then exhale, just start to hinge forward, coming back into our half split. So just a couple breaths here just to release our hip for a moment. Good, and slowly start to re-bend into your right knee. Take your hands to frame your right foot. Very nice. And then just take your right foot to meet your left foot into a plank pose and hike your hips up high, downward facing dog pose. Beautiful. Just a couple breaths here. Shake your head out for a moment. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Good. Then inhale your left leg up and back behind you, tripod down dog. And then on an exhale, plant your left foot right outside of your left hand, coming into lizard on the left side. So take your right knee down, untuck your right toes. Unless it feels good to have your toes tucked, you can have your toes tucked as well. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then start to sink low into your hips. You can either be on your hands or you can come onto your forearms, whatever feels good to you. Just take some deep breaths here. Keep sending your hips towards the floor, so down and forward. And then keeping your spine long, shoulders away from your ears. Couple more deep breaths here. Making sure your hips are square towards the front of the room. One more deep breath. Good. And then slowly heel toe your foot right in between your hands, your left foot, and then shift your hips back, straightening out your left leg, half splits. So on an inhale, lengthen your spine out long, flat back. And then exhale to just hinge it forward, taking some nice deep breaths here. Keep pulling back on your left hip crease. Flex your left toes towards your nose. One more deep breath. Good. Start to re-bend into your left knee, taking your hands to frame your left foot. And again, left foot meets your right foot into a plank pose and just hike your hips up all the way to the sky, down dog. Just a couple breaths. Keep sending your heart towards the back of the room. And then inhale your right leg up and back behind you, okay? Exhale, plant your right foot right in between your hands. And then start to take both hands to the inside of your right foot, walking it over to the left. So we're coming into a wide leg forward fold, okay? So pigeon toe your feet in a little bit. Your body should be facing towards the left side of your space, okay? On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long. Come up to your finger pads. And then exhale to fold. So just coming into a wide leg forward fold. If you want to take a little bind here, you can make little peace fingers to grab the insides of your big toes or maybe the outsides of your feet. Maybe bending one knee and then the other might feel good just to get into your hips. Some nice deep breaths. Make sure your breath is relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed here. Head drops down low. Put more weight into the balls of your feet. Just a couple more deep breaths here. If your head touches the floor, take your feet closer together, just for an extra challenge. Beautiful. And slowly start to walk your hands back towards the front of your yoga mat. Taking your hands to frame your right foot, all 10 toes pointed towards the front of your space. And then take your right foot to meet your left foot, down dog. Drop your head down low and take some deep cleansing breaths. One more deep breath. Good. Then inhale, your right leg lifts up and back behind you, tripod down dog. And we're coming into pigeon pose. So exhale, take your right knee right behind your right wrist and kick your foot over to the left. So you create this diagonal between your right knee and your right ankle. Make sure your right knee is coming out diagonally right from your right hip. So not right in front of your right hip, but out a little bit to the right side. Okay. Slide your left leg back behind you. Walk your hands towards your hips, and on an inhale, puff up your chest, open up your heart, and then exhale, start to fold. So walking it forward towards the front of your space. You can either come onto your forearms if that feels good, or come all the way down. Maybe taking your palms to face the sky as a receiving gesture, opening up that old tension and anxiety that lives in our hips. Keep taking your right hip towards your left heel. So keep trying to square off your hips, putting equal weight into both of your hips here. And sometimes pigeon can be very confronting for a lot of people that have a lot of tightness in their hips. So really start to breathe into that space to help it open up. If this is too easy for you, take your shin, your right shin, more parallel towards the front of your mat. But again, keep squaring off your hips. Notice if you're holding any tension in your face or in your jaw or in your hands, and start to let that go. So to overcompensate for trying to let go on our hip, we might start to store tension in other places in our body. So clenching in our jaw or in our forehead. But just try to let all of that go. Taking some nice deep breaths. Focusing in on your breath. We also try to forget to breathe in this pose for some reason when it can be confronting. So just breathe through it. This can relate to many things in our life that we try to just kind of grip through and not really fully experience. So, taking this off of your mat, trying to find calm in the storm and just release that tension. And know that this too shall pass. All right, one more deep breath here. Very good. And slowly put weight into your hands, taking your upper body up. And then just slowly take your right leg back. We're coming into a tabletop position. So the way that we started. If you want to take your hip around a little bit, just to open up some blood flow there in your right hip, you can do so here. Very nice. And then on an inhale, drop your belly down, lift your chest, lift your gaze for cow pose. And then exhale to round your spine. Tuck your chin into your chest for cat pose. Inhale to a neutral spine. And then tuck your toes, send your hips up high, downward facing dog pose. And let's come into pigeon on the other side. So inhale, your left leg lifts up and back behind you. And then exhale your left knee right behind your left wrist and kick your foot over to the right. So again, creating that diagonal in your left leg, between your left knee and your left ankle. Make sure your left knee is coming out diagonally to the left from your left hip. Okay, so not right in front of your left hip. And then take your right leg back behind you. On an inhale, puff up your chest, open up your heart, and then exhale, start to dive it forward, coming into our pigeon pose. So again, keep squaring off your hips, taking your left hip toward your right heel. Again, if this is not enough for you, take your shin more parallel towards the front of your yoga mat. Okay, start to release that tension in your hips, sending your breath into that space, into your muscle fascia to really open up that space. So we need our breath to create openness, so sending the oxygen to all those muscle fibers to help them release. Thinking about your intention, thinking about what you're trying to let go of in your life, and just envision that all sinking out as your muscle fibers start to release. So you're letting go of all that old stress, old anxiety out of your left hip. Relaxing your face, relaxing your jaw. Just breathing through it. Let's take 4 more deep breaths like this. Deep cleansing exhales. Good, and then slowly and controlled, start to put weight into your hands, taking your upper body up. And again, let's meet in a tabletop position. So taking your left knee to meet your right knee. If you need to move your hip around a little bit just to release, just to get some blood flow, you can do that here. Beautiful. So just shaking out that leg a little bit, and then just come into your tabletop position whenever you're ready. So your knees right under your hips, your wrists right under your shoulders. On an inhale, drop your belly down, shoulder blades together on your back, and lift your tailbone, open up your heart. Exhale, round your spine, push your kidneys towards the ceiling. Inhale, drop your belly, open up your chest towards the front of the room. Exhale to round your spine in. Beautiful. And then inhale to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes, send your hips up high. Downward facing dog, our last down dog of the day. Inhale to lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and step to the front of your yoga mat to sit at the top of your mat. Very nice. So take the bottoms of your feet together in front of you, just creating these butterfly legs. On an inhale, lengthen your spine out long, and then exhale, just start to hinge forward. So just feeling a nice little stretch in your inner groin, your inner hips. If you need a little bit more, just put some pressure with your elbows to the insides of your thighs, just for a little bit of leverage. Nice, deep, relaxed breath. Keep hinging forward, so that same sensation of nose towards your toes, really lengthening out through your spine. Just one more deep breath here. Good, and slowly come all the way up. Extend both of your legs out in front of you. Inhale to reach your arms up to the sky, and then exhale, just hinge it forward, just grabbing wherever you can. Maybe it's behind your knees or behind your calves or maybe the sides of your feet, and just extend through your spine. So nose toward your toes, keep lengthening everything out, and once you're fully lengthened, just drop your head down. So no tension into your neck here. A couple more breaths. Good, and slowly come back up, and then make your way to lie all the way onto your yoga mat. So come all the way onto your back, articulating your spine along the way, using your core strength. Good, and when you come all the way to lie on your back, take your right knee into your chest. So interlacing your fingers right above your right shin. So squeeze it in tight. And then we're going to take a little twist. So take your right arm straight out to your right side. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee and just drag your knee towards the left side of the room. Come rolling onto your left side body. So we're getting a little twist in a hip opener at the same time. Okay. Send your gaze to the right. Don't be scared to roll onto your left side body. So really rolling over. It's okay if your right shoulder pops up off the mat. I just want you to feel a stretch all through your spine and through your right shoulder. Nice, deep, relaxed breath. Just opening up your chakras, all of that energy in your lower back. Making some space there that's so neglected. Because we spend our whole lives putting so much weight on our lower back, since we're now bipedal organisms instead of on all fours. So our lower back takes a big brunt of weight that it's not accustomed to. Just a couple more breaths. Good, and slowly roll back to center. Squeeze your right knee into your chest one more time. Give it a big squeeze, and then release your right leg to the end of your mat. Take your left knee into your chest this time, interlacing your fingers above your left shin. And then let's take a twist on the other side. So take your left arm straight out to your left side like an airplane wing. Take your right hand to the outside of your left knee and just drag it towards the right side of the room. So rolling onto your right side. Beautiful. So you should feel this opening in your lower back and your spine. We're just improving some circulation, getting some nice blood flow into our spine, into our lower back. and also opening our heart and our hip a little bit in the process. Beautiful. Just a couple more deep breaths here. Good, and slowly roll back to center, squeezing your left knee in one more time, big squeeze, and then take your right knee to squeeze in as well. So see if you can even grab opposite elbows about 2 inches below your knees. So getting this nice wind relieving pose to finish off, to make some compression in your psoas, trying to relax your entire back onto the mat for 3, for 2, for 1, and then release for our final pose, our Shavasana. So take your palms to face the sky, shoulder blades together on your back, and just start to let go here. Okay, so we opened up our hips a lot, so there might be some emotions that are starting to creep up on you, and just let all that stuff go into your mat. So I remember when I first started doing yoga, I would cry a lot in Shavasana, and I wasn't really sad or anything was wrong. It was my body just kind of releasing these emotions. So when we do a lot of hip opening, sometimes you might be a little emotional in Shavasana, and just know that that's totally normal. It's just your body's way of kind of releasing that stuff that you've opened up in your hips. So again, just let that all go into your mat, relaxing your forehead, relaxing your jaw, and just let go of any more tension that you're holding on to. So throughout our lives, we try to control so much, and Shavasana is this opportunity to just let go and just let it be. Release everything into your yoga mat. So a lot of the time when I get really stressed out and anxious, my mantra is let go and let God. So God not being a, person in the sky, but just, letting the universe kind of steer me in the direction that I need to go, because, everything will in time come together the way that it's supposed to, and me trying to control everything is not helping. So in this moment, just really try to let go of stress, anxiety, whatever is holding you back in your life, fear, and just let that all go into your mat, releasing every muscle fiber, every tension that might exist in your entire body. Just let that all go into the mat. So please stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you can, as much time as you have today, to let all of this work, all this opening that you've created in your hips, just integrate into your body, into your spirit, and just fully let go of those things that are holding you back in your life. Until we meet again, namaste.